Hi, everyone, and welcome to my final presentation artifact analysis for my Master's of Arts in Education graduate degree program. And during the course of this presentation, I'm going to be moving around my video screen to accommodate the various slides that I have. My first slide shows my artifact analysis table, and I'll move my screen right here so it's not covering up anything. This table just shows the different PLOs and how they align to my different courses and the projects that I used for each course and which PLO it aligns with. And I is introducing, D is developed, and M means mastered. For this slide, I just included my course schedule and the courses I took for this program from National on the side over here. And then over here, I have the PLOs just typed out so they're specific and clear as to what they are. And I'll also include them on each project that I have on each slide. For my first course, MAE 610, I chose my plan of study grid, and this aligns with PLO 4, developing reflective practices that are grounded in current learning, science research, professional ethics, and include pathways to continuous growth. And I chose this project as introducing because it introduced me to beginning to reflect upon my plan of study and my path and the courses that I've taken and what I've learned from them and what areas I still need to grow in order to get to mastery for all 4 of the PLOs. I'm going to move down here. For this class, ITL 600, Becoming a Teacher, it was one of my first classes I took, and I chose the project-based learning unit that I created that incorporated PE, social studies, and math standards, and accommodating learners of different cultures and backgrounds. And it aligns with PLO2, designing learning experiences that include learner characteristics, principles of customized learning, and assessment as learning, because I had to examine and take into account the different characteristics of my learners, such as their languages, cultures, backgrounds, the ways they learn the best. I included the different dances from the different countries from where they're from. And I used this for students that were in my class where I was teaching previously, and also the special ed students that I had. And I used different ways of assessment of their learning in this. So the skit and the mural, as it is a form of assessment that allows learners who learn and express in different ways to do so. And I put I/D for this because it introduced me to the concepts of beginning to use UDL and project-based learning into a lesson, and I began to develop them. For this project, I created a digital literacy game board for ITL 604 Learners and Learning 1. And this project aligns with PLO1, integrating advanced approaches to instruction, assessment, and learning using digital tools and skills, because I used various digital tools to create this game board, as well as using game-based learning to teach digital literacy to students and others. And assessment. So the game itself is an assessment because you can assess whether or not your students are learning or gaining the concepts by observing them throughout playing in the game. So I just included clips from the slides from my game, and it could be played online or printed out and played. So these are some of the cards over here, and it was based on endangered species. So I incorporated a science element, and then just some of the instructions, and it covered fair use, Creative Commons, and copyright laws. For ITL 606, Learners and Learning 2, I created a Padlet, a Universal Design for Learning Padlet for Literacy unit, and there it includes a variety of different ways of learning this ELA standard 6.6 as I included on there. And this is just a screenshot of the Padlet. And so you can just go around. Students can just choose and click on what they would like to use to work on. And this aligns with PLO2, designing learning experiences that include learner characteristics, principles of customized learning, and assessment as learning. Because I had to include the different characteristics of my learners, and it was a classroom that was provided to us in this class. So I had to take into account their diverse learning characteristics and creating diverse learning experiences that would accommodate them, such as kinesthetic learners through speaking and storytelling, also being able to do things on the web-based learning, digital learning, as well as being able to share stories, so from their experiences, and also including some SDL and community building in there. And I chose D for this because this is when I began to develop the skill of designing these learning experiences. And for ITL 608, Design and Process of Teaching, I chose a literacy lesson plan that was a group lesson plan, but here I included a few of the slides that I did, just screenshots of them. And this aligned with PLO3, applying practitioner research methods to study and inform instruction in traditional and digital learning environments. Because for this project, we were given a classroom and we had to apply research methods and questions to the classroom information we were given in order to create the best lesson and activities for the learners. And we also examined the learners that we were given and applied UDL research methods to choosing the barriers they might have to learning, as well as misconceptions about them, and then using that to create a lesson. So, and I chose M for this because I felt that I mastered universal design for learning, as well as applying practitioner research methods to study and inform instruction in traditional and digital learning environments through this project. I'm going to move my screen over here. For Special Ed 631, Special Education Law, I chose my project, which is a parental guide to the IEP process. And this aligns with PLO4, develop reflective practices that are grounded in current learning science research, professional ethics, and includes pathways to continuous growth, because I had to reflect upon my own professional ethics as far as knowing and then following the laws and guidelines for special education, and everything that I learned from this project was all grounded in current research and facts, and we had to be, because it's special education law. And it does change a little bit here and there. And I was a special ed teacher at the time, so this was really relevant to me. And I chose mastering because I felt that I mastered this project, and it also helped me to really create a pathway of continuous growth for me as far as ensuring that I will be aware and always be aware of the legal issues regarding IEPs and students in special education. For SPED 621, Advanced Behavioral Supports in SEL, I chose a project that I did in a group on creating a professional development training day for teachers using the subject of grit. And I created the first half of the day. So it was a full day. So this is the agenda that I created. And this project aligns with PLO2 design learning experiences that include learner characteristics, principles of customized learning, and assessment as learning. Because I felt that I used and mastered all of these things in order to create this professional development day for teachers, but it also included lessons and activities and ways of assessment that they can use for students. So it was teachers and students. So, for example, I created a KWL chart. So it's one of the activities we did in the training with the teachers that they could also do with their students is to create a KWL chart about grit. Also, as far as assessment as learning, just assessing here, this is a screenshot of part of the lesson. What limiting beliefs do you have about yourself? And you can also use this. They can also use this with their students for them to assess what beliefs they have about grit and some other activities. And I chose master, M for master, because I felt that I mastered this PLO with this activity. For ITI 670, Introduction to SEL, what is SEL PowerPoint presentation? I chose this for PLO 4 because through this project, I reflected a lot on my own journey with SEL and why I think it's important to include in schools and what kinds of practices that I use in my personal life that are related to SEL for me and that I could also apply in the classroom. So this up here is a photo because I'm a fire performer, and I did a different project about circus performance and how circus activities can be used as SEL activities. A friend of mine has researched this, and I cited her work here. She has a circus program called Holistic Circus Therapy that incorporates SEL with working with kids. And I also included just a couple other pieces of my slides, the CASTLE framework for social emotional learning here, and also all the core CASTLE SEL competencies. And this definitely also reflects pathway to continuous growth because I personally want to create a program and ways for to teach SEL through the arts and yoga and meditation and that kind of a thing. So this project helped me to reflect upon how I want to do that and why it's so important to me to do that. And for MAE 691, social emotional learning and relationships, I chose a website pages that I created that included resources, SEL resources on it. And the assignment was to use at least 3 pages on a website to create different resources for SEL. And so on my own personal website, I created 3 pages, one for SEL resources for mindfulness, one for dance, and one for yoga. And these are just, this is a clip of the part of the dance and SEL page over here. And so there's ways for students and their parents to interact and access different resources such as videos they can follow, the link to upcoming online opportunities I have for them, and also outside resources, art and articles to read, as well as a survey, ways to engage and interact with them, ways to chat and ask questions, and also monthly different activities each month. As far as this one is mindfulness and presence and using different breathing exercises and techniques. And this aligns with PLO1 because it integrates ways of instruction as well as assessment using the digital environment. So there are many different ways that I included to learn SEL skills and ways to interact. And I put M for mastery because I felt that I mastered this PLO with this project. And for my final course, MAE 670, Applied Practitioner Research, I chose my practitioner research proposal paper. And this aligns with PLO 4 because it was a reflective practice, as well as helped me to focus on a way that I can grow in the future professionally by creating a research proposal in an area that I am interested in, and a way that I can grow. And it also focused on studying papers from current research in the subject that I wrote about. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and thank you very much.